everyone, welcome to DIY with Nancy. Today I'm going to be cooking and I'm going to be making stuffed peppers. And the stuffed peppers are going to consist of 3 meats. That's a lean ground veal, lean ground pork, and lean ground beef. Now, of course, I'm going to mix it in with some tomato sauce. I'm going to top it with some fresh mozzarella, bake it in the oven. Absolutely delicious. It's a light meal. You can have this with a side salad, and it's easy to make. So stay with me and watch how to make my stuffed peppers step by step. Okay, I start off by placing 4 tablespoons of olive oil in a deep fry pan, and I have my heat on a low to medium heat. You want to heat up that oil, and once your oil is heated up, you want to place in a chopped onion, and I'm using a large onion for this recipe. Next, I'm adding 2 garlic cloves, and I have whole garlic cloves. You can also chop them up, but I like to squeeze the flavor out of those garlic cloves and place it right in the onions. And for seasoning, I'm adding about half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. And you want to mix that together. Now, you don't want your onions and garlic to brown. You just want them to soften. And you should start seeing the onions soften after a minute of mixing. Okay, the onions are nice and soft. I'm going to add the meat, and here I have lean ground beef, lean ground pork, and lean ground veal. You're going to add about 3 pounds altogether into the fry pan. Now that I've added the meat in the fry pan, I'm just going to saute and brown the meat with the nice flavor of the onions and the garlic. And you'll see as you're mixing and as the meat is cooking, you'll see some juices form, which is the fat and the flavor. It's going to give some amazing flavor to this meat. So you're going to keep stirring and keep mixing it together until your meat is slightly brown. You don't want to overcook the meat because we're going to be placing this into the oven to bake. So very important, season your meat. I'm adding some salt and some more ground pepper. You're going to do that to your liking. So you can add as much or as little as you'd like. Now, once the meat is browned, at this point, I'm going to add 2 cups of tomato sauce. Now, this is a homemade tomato sauce, but by all means, you can use a store-bought tomato sauce for this recipe as well. Now, as you're cooking the meat and the sauce has been added, you will see that it will start to thicken, and that's exactly what you want. So you're going to place your stove on a simmer, and you're going to let it simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. While I wait for the sauce to thicken, I'm going to move on to the next step. And here I have the bell peppers, and I'm using the color of the rainbow here. I have an orange, I have a yellow, and I have 2 red. I have 4 altogether, but I'm going to cut them in half, so really we're going to have 8. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut them in half, clean them up inside. So let's get started. Start off with the first one here. I'm going to take a knife and cut it right along the middle. Try to make it even. And then with a paring knife, I'm simply going to cut the membrane of the inside of the pepper and make sure it's all nice and clean in there before we start stuffing the peppers. And do the same thing for the other half. Now, after cutting the membrane of the pepper inside, you also want to remove any seeds that may be left inside the pepper. So that's how I'm going to continue cutting the peppers. I'm going to start off with the next one, and I'm going to continue cutting out the membranes, removing the seeds, and making sure that the peppers are completely cleaned out before I start stuffing the bell peppers. I have all the peppers cut in half, cleaned out, and at this point, we're ready to stuff the peppers. The sauce is thickened, the meat is ready. Turn off your stove, and at this point, you want to give it a quick stir, and you can see that the sauce is nice and thick onto the ground meat. Now, give that a quick stir, and very important, of course, you want to taste
your meat to make sure the seasoning is perfect. Okay, I just need to add a little bit of salt and we're good to go. Okay, I'm all set. I have the meat sauce, the bell peppers, and a baking tray with parchment paper. Now I'm ready to stuff the bell peppers with the meat sauce. I'm simply going to spoon in the meat sauce into the pepper, and I want to make sure that it's completely full. So I'm placing the meat, and as I'm placing the meat, I'm pressing it down with the spoon. That way I make sure the bell peppers are completely stuffed with the meat. Now I'm going to continue on in stuffing the balance of the peppers. Next, for the last and final step, I have some grated Parmesan cheese. I have about half a cup and it's nicely grated. And also I have here 2 cups of grated fresh mozzarella cheese. Perfect for a topping. So I'm going to just show you the mozzarella cheese. It's called Fresh Mozzarella Santa Lucia, which is my mom's name. I never forget it. And it's a fresh cheese. It comes in a container just like this, and it's got some water in it. And when you are about to grate the cheese, you just remove the water and grate the mozzarella cheese. It's nice and fresh, and it tastes absolutely delicious. So next I'm going to start off first with the fresh mozzarella that I've grated. I'm going to place it onto the meat, coat the peppers, and I'm placing a nice generous amount of the mozzarella cheese. For the last and final step, I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese that's grated and place it right on top of the mozzarella cheese. These stuffed peppers are ready to go into the oven. I'm going to bake them at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. And here you have it, your stuffed peppers with some cheese on top. You see the browning on top. It's nice and crispy and simply delicious. These stuffed peppers are ready to be served. They go great with a nice green salad. And here you have it. Your lunch or dinner is served.
That was my recipe on how to make stuffed peppers. Now, I can smell peppers in here with that meat sauce. It's gonna be so delicious. I'm actually looking forward to lunch, and that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a light lunch today with a side salad. Perfect for lunch for work if you wanna take it to go for the next day. It's very delicious, easy to make. And what I did for the peppers, the bell peppers that I used, I cut them in half and I used them for 2. But if you want to use a whole pepper, just cut off the top, clean the inside, and then stuff it that way. And it tastes just the same. I hope you all enjoyed the recipe today. And if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, thanks so much for watching. Take care.